Now move over, Harry Potter, say hello to Wolf Brother. London author Michelle Paver wrote the Stone Age adventure 20 years ago. She recently dusted it off and found herself breaking records with a multi-million-pound publishing deal. Well, the book hit the shops today, and Matthew Morris has been out to see if it really will knock the teenage wizard off his broomstick.
It seems Michelle Paver's going to have to get used to signings like this. She's just secured the biggest ever publishing deal for a children's debut novel, a whopping £2.8 million. But can Wolf Brother really compete with Harry Potter? That's the big question, and if it does, well, it would be a big success for a London author who's previously penned historical novels for grown-ups. This tale had been lying around in her wardrobe for over 20 years.
I was just sort of looking through old files, because I keep everything I've ever written, and you know, I wrote my first story when I was 5, and so I've got all of that stuff. And it's just quite fun when you're having a break to just go through it. And yeah, I just turned up it in a box file in the back of my wardrobe.
He put back his head and howled. Howling cheered him up a bit because it reminded him of all the good howls he'd had with the pack.
It's all about 12-year-old Torak living in a forest 6,000 years ago who teams up with an orphaned wolf cub.
It sounds very good and I'm going to read it.
Why is that? What sort of things do you like?
I like fantasy and adventure in a book, and it's interesting. The adventure is in nature and it seems very interesting.
I can't really read that well.
So maybe this is a good one for you to learn with. Michelle Paver went to some lengths to get her research spot on.
I rode 300 miles through the Finnish forests and northern Lapland and slept on reindeer skins in open-fronted shelters in the forest.
And from Lapland, perhaps, to Hollywood, Wolf Brother the movie already said to be very much on the cards. Matthew Morris, BBC London News.
Well, let's speak to the author, Michelle Paver, now. Thanks very much for coming in. It's an amazing story. You started this book at university while you were at Oxford. That's where the idea came from. But where did you get the idea for the wolf?
Well, I mean, that goes back to when I was 10, actually. I said I was always very keen on the Stone Age and living in the forest and that sort of thing. And I loved wolves. I mean, I actually wanted a wolf as a pet, but I lived in Wimbledon, so I got a spaniel instead. But I read everything I could find on wolf behaviour.
Now, you've been likened to J.K. Rowling and her success with Harry Potter, whether you like it or not. It's not a bad person to be likened to. But your book was lying in the back of your wardrobe. Did you think that it could be as big as it is now?
No, I didn't. Certainly not then. I mean, it wasn't set in the Stone Age at that time, 20 years ago. But it had the central story of the boy and the wolf. I dusted it off last year, and I honestly didn't think anyone would be interested, so I only wrote 7 chapters. And then my agent showed it to a few publishers, and then sort of the avalanche of interest started, which took me completely by surprise.
And will there be more books you're thinking of in the series? Are you going to do a J.K. Rowling there?
Well, it is actually a series of 6 books called Chronicles of Ancient Darkness. Wolf Brother's the first. I've got them all mapped out in my head, so I don't know about doing a J.K. Rowling, but I've got them all mapped out.
The money must be nice to look forward to.
It's very nice. It's not why I did it. I did it because I really love the story, and it's something I've always wanted to write, but it helps pay for the research trips.
Now, what I must ask, are there any other books in the wardrobes that we should know about now that we can look forward to, perhaps make other multi-million-pound deals?
There's quite a few other box files in there, yeah, dating back to when I was 5. That was the first story I wrote, so possibly.
Well, good luck with that. Thanks very much for coming in and speaking to us, telling us about the book. Best of luck.